Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Harry Cohen. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Gwen Myers. Representing District 4, Christine Miller. Representing District 5, Donna Cameron Cepeda. Representing District 6, Chris Bowles. Representing District 7, Joshua Wostel. The County Administrator is Bonnie Wise. The County Attorney is Julia Mandel. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. So we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning and welcome to the March 4th, 2026 regularly scheduled board meeting of the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Gwen Myers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to come before you and share your words with the board members and the guests that are here this morning. Your grace and mercy has sustained our county. Your grace and mercy have made our first responders who they are. Our employees, Father, we thank you for all that they do on behalf of this county. I ask that our 2 recipients this morning that will receive proclamations, that you will continue to go with them and bless their organization. And as we celebrate Women's History Month, Father, I thank you for all the women that are able to do in your name and service you. This I ask in your holy name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. This morning we have 2 very special accommodations, and the first one will be presented by Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. And would Dr. J.C. Joshua and Dr. Kevin Cruz please join me at the podium? Well, good morning, and thank you for being here today. I'm really proud to recognize an incredible organization that has made significant contributions to Hillsborough County and beyond. Their dedication to raising awareness of the importance of civic life, constitutional values, and faith-driven collaboration is an inspiration to us all. I'm honored to present this commendation to Truth, Faith, and Action Alliance for their hard work and accomplishments. And it reads, the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to recognize Truth, Faith, and Action Alliance for its dedication to strengthening communities through education, service, and civic engagement, most notably in combating human trafficking, protecting families, and helping communities thrive. Founded in 2023 by Dr. Kevin Cruz, Truth, Faith, and Action is steadfast in its mission to encourage residents to participate responsibly in civic life, uphold constitutional values, and engage constructively in their communities. The nonprofit has provided vital nonpartisan education, volunteer initiatives, and outreach efforts, all of which are designed to promote informed participation, respect for the rule of law, and civic responsibility, in addition to hosting volunteer-led programs and public conferences that encourage informed engagement. Truth, Faith, and Action crafts important educational initiatives that focus on civic literacy and constitutional principles. The organization is also instrumental in collaborating with faith-based and community organizations that strengthen social cohesion within the region, fostering informed, engaged, and responsible residents. The Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby commend truth, faith, and action for its unwavering commitment to service and civic principles, and wishes it many years of continued success, presented this 4th day of March 2026. Congratulations, thank you. Congratulations to you both. But I really would like, I'm just so honored really to present this amazing commendation today. And I would like to have, first of all, Dr. Joshua to please say a few words, and then after we'll have Dr. Cruz. And also your team can come up as well.
Good morning, everyone. First of all glory and honor to Lord Jesus Christ. And it is a tremendous honor for me to stand here and receive this recognition on behalf of our alliance, Truth, Faith, and Action Alliance. I want to thank every commissioner present here for their dedicated service to our home, Hillsborough County. And it's a tremendous need right now to make our county a safe place, especially for our children. So with the leadership of our founder, Dr. Kevin Cruz, and our tremendous team, it actually belongs, this recognition belongs to our incredible team here. We are fighting to make this county a safe place for our kids. So once again, thank you so much for your recognition and partnership of all the commissioners and county to work with us to make this a safer place. Thank you.
So I do want to thank you all for coming, but I want to thank each one of the board members today, and we appreciate you, what you're doing in our communities. And this is, of course, our team. This is my wife, Alexandra Cruz. And, of course, you've already met Joshua. He is our Director of Ministry Integration. Christy Lefferts and then John Glorioso are also part of our team. So as many of you know, we're getting accommodation, but there's a tremendous team of people behind that. And so just to tell you a few things, that when you're starting to deal with sex trafficking, you realize that we're fighting something that cannot be fixed alone. And so the goal of our alliance is to be a trellis-type network that connects the people that have a passion to do something about this problem. There are over 25 different nonprofit ministries here in our area that are willing to work together. We now have a connection to the county commissioners. We're going to get all of the state and local people in the government to connect. And then we're going to try and connect those people to our business community and our faith community. Someone needs to bridge the gap and begin to connect all of these parts, because until we work together, we will never fix this problem. And that's the goal of our alliance. Thank you.
So, thank you. So we're going to go up and have some picture photos now, and this is the entire team here. Oh, well, the team that you have here at the moment. But thank you. I'm just really honored to give this commendation. Thank you very much.
Good job, brother.
No, I'm good. I want to get you guys. I'm good.
Thank you, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. And now Commissioner Cohen will present our next proclamation.
Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I would like to ask the following special guests to please join me at the podium. Tina Forcier, Richard Rogers, and Ron Spohr, all of Habitat for Humanity of Tampa, Hillsborough. John Beecham, founder and CEO of Torac Capital Partners and Habitat board member, and Candace Cowan, a Habitat homeowner who advocates for Habitat at the state level. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay Hillsborough is all about building. This organization builds strength, stability, and self-reliance through its home building program, which collaborates with local volunteers to provide safe, accessible, and affordable housing. The Habitat homeowners also invest sweat equity into their new home, making it even more meaningful. This is a special organization that delivers an exceptional program that we're very proud of in Hillsborough County, one that brings our community closer together and lifts people up by filling an essential need. I am proud to present the following proclamation, and here it is. I'm going to hold it up, but I'm going to ask if maybe you would go ahead and hold it while I read it. Whereas for nearly 40 years, the hometown affiliate of Habitat International has been investing in affordable housing for low to moderate income working families who desperately need it through a program of empowerment, community, and volunteer and donor spirit that reflects the heart of Hillsborough County. And whereas since its founding in 1987, the nonprofit Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay Hillsborough has built and repaired over 650 homes, more than 100 in the past 2 years, for residents struggling to find safe, stable, affordable places to live. And whereas for nearly 100,000 local families, housing consumes more than 50% of their total income, which can force hard choices between shelter and necessities like food or medicine. And whereas through Habitat, a resident gets a loan that keeps monthly payments at no more than 30% of the family income, helping to break the cycle of poverty and start to build long-term financial security. And whereas prospective Habitat homeowners put in hundreds of sweat equity hours helping build Habitat homes alongside volunteers and working in Habitat programs, strengthening a sense of investment in where they live, and whereas Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay Hillsborough supports military veterans with affordable home ownership and home repairs, and the Aging in Place initiative helps seniors stay in their homes safely and with dignity. And whereas the concrete block homes Habitat builds exceed code requirements for stability and resilience and are storm strengthened against hurricanes, and whereas Habitat homeowners who previously rented paid $613,000 in property taxes in 2025, rising from $473,000 in 2024 and $411,000 in 2023. And whereas home building events, including Veterans Build, Women Build, Faith Build, and Holiday Home Build with the Bucks, showcase volunteers and donors who help make affordable home ownership a reality in Hillsborough County. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare March 4th, 2026 as Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Hillsborough Day in Hillsborough County, and thanks the organization for making a significant difference in the lives of Hillsborough County residents, executed this 4th day of March, 2026. Ms. Forcier, congratulations to you, your team, and everyone who makes this program thrive. Would you like to say a few words on behalf of Habitat? Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Awesome. How do you have my notes?
I do. I have your notes?
I threw them up here.
Oh, no. Oh, there we go.
Okay. I could have just winged it, but.
There we go. Okay.
Well, first off, good morning to the members of the commission, and thank you to Commissioner Cohen and members of the board for this recognition. I'm honored to accept this proclamation on behalf of Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay, Hillsborough. This is very exciting for us, and this acknowledgement highlights the importance of affordable homeownership to the people of Hillsborough County. I want to thank our team, our volunteers and partners who work tirelessly to make our work possible. This recognition is a reflection of your dedication. Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay Hillsborough has provided over 300 new homes with affordable mortgages for low-income families and over 300 repairs to low-income homeowners so that they can remain in their homes. Our aim is to break the cycle of poverty through homeownership. By doing so, we are able to reduce the burden on other public subsidy that is needed because these families have the ability to afford their necessities. We're able to return the funds to the local community in the form of property taxes. In November 2025, Habitat homeowners paid over $600,000 in property taxes. We accept this charge to continue serving our community with integrity and to make Hillsborough County a better place to live and work. I'd also like to ask for John Wheaton, our SVP of Construction, to come stand with us for pictures because he's the one that's out in the field making the homes happen. And with that, I'm going to ask Candace Cohen, a Habitat homeowner, to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tina. And thank you, Commissioner Cohen, for that. Same name, but we're not related. But nonetheless, good morning, Chair, Commissioners, community, and honored guests. Thank you for this proclamation and for recognizing the lasting impact of Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay Hillsborough. Today is a celebration not only of an organization, but what becomes possible when leadership, policy, and community come together with a purpose. Many years ago, my life was reshaped when my daughter was diagnosed with cancer at just 1 year old. During that time, I witnessed the extraordinary power of community. People showed up, offered support, encouragement, and strength, helping to steady me during a moment that required faith, focus, and resilience. Today, my daughter is in her early 20s and in remission, so thank God, and I remain deeply grateful for the village that surrounded us. But as I continue forward, working full-time, pursuing my education, and striving for home ownership, I found myself in a position familiar to a lot of people here in the Tampa Bay area. Rising housing costs made the goal of home ownership increasingly difficult to reach. But once again, the community stepped up through Habitat for Humanity. Habitat did more than help me to just build a home. It helped me build the framework of my life. Through sweat equity, volunteerism, and partnership, I earned my home while standing shoulder to shoulder with my neighbors and my community. This is Women's History Month, so it's perfect timing to note that my home was the first woman-built home in the Tampa Bay area. Constructed primarily by women, mothers, aunts, sisters, along with leaders, professionals, and advocates who demonstrated what happens when women come together to build not just walls and roofs, but opportunity, confidence, and generational impact. That experience ignited my passion for construction, deepened my commitment to service, and solidified my calling as a public servant. Today, I continue to build upon that foundation by engaging in civic leadership and advocating for policy and appropriations at both the state and local level and federal level. I travel to Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. to share my story and advocate for programs like Habitat because I know firsthand that when policy aligns with purpose, lives are transformed. I'm standing here today because both Habitat and the board understands the importance of investing in people because legislators chose to support solutions that work and because the community believed in building not only a house, but a future. Habitat for Humanity reminds us that we are all connected and that at different moments in our lives, we may lean on the systems, the very systems that we help sustain. So when we invest in affordable housing, affordable homeownership, we are laying foundations that strengthen families, empower people, and shape communities for generations to come, like myself. So thank you to these leaders, to these legislators. Thank you so much for your support and your commitment to build a stronger Hillsborough County, and thank you for your time.
Well, again, it's wonderful to have you here to celebrate your anniversary, and I think we're going to go up and take a few pictures, and we have one last thing, I think. It's a property tax check to Hillsborough County on behalf of all the Habitat homeowners, right?
All the homeowners paid this much this past year in taxes.
Wonderful. We'll hold it in the picture, and we'll get the board.
Thank you, Commissioner Cohen. Bonnie, you want to review changes to the agenda?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. We have several items for time certain today. The first one is 10 o'clock, item D1. This is to conduct a public hearing to accept comments on the substantial amendments to the action plans and close the public comment period for submittal to HUD. Item D2 at 10 o'clock is to hold a public hearing regarding water and wastewater impact fees to allow certain qualifying developments that are in the county's approval process to be able to pay the 2025 water and wastewater impact fee rates. Item D3 at 10 o'clock is to hold a public hearing and adopt an ordinance repealing and replacing the solicitation and distribution and public roads ordinance. Item F2 at 10:15 by Commissioner Hagan is a discussion regarding partnering with USF on critical infrastructure and public safety improvements for the new Fletcher district development. 11:45 is a recess for lunch. Those are the changes to the agenda.
Can I have a motion to approve the changes?
Move to approve.
Second. Motion to approve the changes, Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Wilstall. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
The board will go in the public comment portion of the agenda. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issues or concerns. Your opinions are valued in terms of providing valuable input to board members. However, it is requested at the same time when you address the board, comments are not directed personally at staff or the board, but rather the issues. We've set aside 45 minutes for public comment this morning. The chair will call names in the order in which you've signed up. Please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. The first three speakers this morning, Mark Lander, followed by Carla Fry, and then Chwanda Bradley. Is Mr. Lander here? Please come forward. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Mark Lander. I'm the Deputy Secretary for the Florida Department of Health. Here today just to briefly talk on Agenda Item A14 for the consent agenda, to introduction for the appointment of Dr. Carla Fry as the new health officer for the Hillsborough County Health Department, as well as I have up here with me Dr. Douglas Holt, the current and retiring health officer. Ms. Fry, or Dr. Fry, has been with the department quite a few years. She's been serving in this role in Monroe County. Prior to that, she was an educator with, I believe, Jacksonville University, and then also has 6 years of military service time with our U.S. Army. Very well educated, a lot of public health experience, public health background. We are super excited to be able to bring her up to Hillsborough County and serve in this role upon your appointment. And I don't want to steal your thunder because I know you're going to talk, so I'll let you do that. But I do want to also thank this gentleman to the left of me. And I'll try not to get emotional. I've known Dr. Holt for many years, in my 30 years, and I think it has been, I know it's been his honor to serve the residents of Hillsborough County. And he has been such a mentor to me and other health officers around the state of Florida, serving not only in his local role, but always being the first to be pulled to Tallahassee to serve in interim roles to support the state. And with that, I owe a debt of gratitude to Dr. Holt for his service. So thank you, sir. And with that, I don't want to take up any more time, and I know Ms. Fry will speak, and I'll step back.
Thank you, Mr. Lander. Good morning, Dr. Fry.
Good morning. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, County Administrator, it's a pleasure to be here today. It's an honor and a privilege to be the proposed health officer of the Florida Department of Health in Hillsborough County. I want to thank Dr. Doug Holt as well, echoing Mark's sentiments. For the last couple of months, he's introduced me to just about everybody. And so it's been a wonderful introduction to not only Hillsborough County, but to the stakeholders and the community members who are doing such wonderful work together. So with that, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have 38 years of nursing, hard to believe, but that time has gone by quickly. Acute care, academia, and now public health. And the intersection, I think, of those three things has really lended itself well to me being prepared for this role. It's a big role. It's a lot of responsibility. So that time in the military that Mark mentioned also has prepared me well. I treasure those 6 years that I spent in the Army, and I feel like the values and the mission that we served together has led me to this place, and it has made me the person that I am today. For the next couple of months, it's going to be busy, but I'm looking very much forward to meeting with each of you, hearing about the communities that you serve, the priorities that you have, the differing needs of our community, and everything that we can do to make sure that we make our community thrive, make them healthy and happy, and do the best that they can. So with that, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fry. Next three speakers, Twanda Bradley. Is Twanda here? Don't see Twanda. Virtual, we have a Marlise Tolbert Jones, and then a Denise Herndon. Is Ms. Tolbert Jones on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Board of County Commissioners. My name is Marlene Robert Jones, and I am the Vice President of Progress Village City Council. I'm speaking today to express my excitement for the collaboration of Hillsborough County, MMI, and Progress Village. Although excited, I do feel that there are some legitimate concerns. The upcoming expansion of MMI, Progress Village luxury apartments, I do feel some discomfort with the storm drainage in the area. I am a lifelong resident of Progress Village, with my family being one of the first 7 to move into the area. And we have lived through many storms and flooding in the area. I would love to feel convinced that the county has done everything and looked at everything to make sure that this expansion will not affect Progress Village or its community. The expansion of the stormwater drainage that has been in place was expressed to be able to withstand all the flooding, or as much of the flooding as possible, for the community as it is now. However, with the expansion, we just want to feel that this will be so once it is built. I do believe that because of the meetings with MMI, they have concerns for our valid concerns. However, the expansion causes fear for the community. I have faith that the county has done everything possible to ensure that our safety in Progress Village. Progress Village is a community that has been overlooked, has been somewhat dismissed, but here we are. We pray that God will continue to cover us, keep us, because we are a family that are concerned for one another. We reach out for one another, and I thank the board for making sure that we are safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Twanda Bradley, it's Bradley here, followed by Denise Herndon, and then Tom Colbert. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. I'm Twanda Bradley, Progress Village President. I'm here again with the same story, but with a different twist. In the past 3 times that we've come to you, we talked about what Progress Village needs to be safe. We talked about MMI, of course, that MMI is building around us. One thing that we have not done publicly is say that we support MMI and its development. However, the message is still the same to you all. With this development, if you approve it, we still need to ensure that Progress Village is safe, that the flooding is not only for today, it's for tomorrow. And tomorrow, and tomorrow. In other words, we want to be sustainable, right? We want to make sure that we are not facing what we faced in 2024 of flooding with the new buildings, not only MMI, but others, just making sure that you know that we're safe. We also want to make sure that the roads are safe. Currently, they're not good. They are not good today. And then we add density. What is that going to do? Weaken our roads even more. So we're asking you again today, repair our roads. In addition of repairing them, making sure that they're safe moving forward because of the density is going to impact them. We're talking about safety to the community itself as well. safety to the community itself when we are already walking back and forth on a state road or road that's deemed to be a truck route. It's not safe today. And so if we add in density, we're adding more cars, it's making us even more unsafe. So what safety measures that you can put in place and support that? Transportation is very important to us. We want to make sure that our people are able to ride their e-bikes and all those great things up and down the road, but know that they're safe. So today I come once again, letting you know Progress Village is here. We've been here 65 years, and we want to be here a little longer, but we want to make sure our generations are still there and they are safe. So please, please, we ask again, act now on our roads, making sure our roads are good today as well as the future. And again, I want to publicly thank Mr. Wright and his team for working with us. Yes, I know you all may have felt that we've been a little slow in moving, but Progress Village has always been on board with the developers. We thank them for coming to us and having more face-to-face meetings with us, helping us to understand their part versus your part. And so we're here about your part. So with that, I thank them for everything they've done, and we're looking forward to continue our partnership that we've already have with them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Denise Herndon, and followed by Tom Colbert and Dr. Charlie Sand.
Good morning, I'm Denise Herndon. I was unable to print anything from the library because I can't use any other computer but the library computer. I was able to sign up, but I was unable to, it said that it went to the queue, but it wouldn't sign up. So my issue is reading through the courier service to increase it $110,000 for library services. I know that Red Line does more than just library services with that added $1 million, over $1 million. I've never been married, I'm single, raised one child that at 10 and a half got involved in the dark web. This is sex trafficking that's going on. My son is now 40, he'll be 41 in June. The Sheriff's Department hasn't helped me. Shirlene Hammond, who is a small owner of Brandon Ford, was his school bus driver back then. She drugged him and got him raped by somebody at Oak Bridge Run condominium named John Spears. In 2014, when I realized Shirlene Hammond, who was my next door neighbor, now a small owner of Brandon Ford because of her husband Wayne Hammond, was the general manager, I started calling the FBI. The FBI, we're over 10 years now. Went to the Sheriff's Department, went to FDLE. I've called the FBI several times. Nothing has been done. Sheriff Chronister, I don't care how much money is backing him, we need to vote him out. My records for Hillsborough County says I'm separated. I've never been married, so how can I be separated? I've got body cams where I was a witness to a drive-by shooting. The case number is 21-98624. That body cam is false. I don't care whether it's general offense. When you have a body cam from a sheriff's department falsified, there's a big problem. And the only reason I pulled that up was to show my son what his dark web friends are doing. Jeff Bezos took over my son's website at 10 and a half when that's how he found him. He took it over somewhere around 2001, 2002. I didn't know my son was involved in this until he got caught hacking into computers. He was kicked out of Tampa Tech and expelled from Brandon High School for hacking in and changing his grades. Something needs to be done because these are our small kids now that are being sex trafficked.
Thank you very much. Next up is Tom Colbert, followed by Dr. Charlie Sand.
Oh, Madam Chair, I didn't know he'd left. Good morning, commissioners, staff, and deputies. My name is Tom Colbert. Today I'm going to get into something personal. I order my T-shirts from a company in Atlanta. It takes 2 days for me to get it. I was expecting one on Friday the 13th, and it didn't come in. So I went online, checked what's going on. The shirt had been diverted. There was no time listed, which meant it was a manual entry. And only the postal inspectors or law enforcement could make that kind of entry. Now, there's things going on in this country where there's a lot of censorship, you know, leaning towards straight-out dictatorship. And I've been a long-time community activist. I got involved in the early 90s in juvenile justice. I was a charter member of the Juvenile Justice Council. Got to know Phyllis Bazansky, Elvin Martinez, Julie Holt. They were mentors. And I believe in Hillsborough County and doing the right thing. I'm a Vietnam-era Air Force veteran. I went to Taiwan, and I admire the Chinese greatly. I learned about Sun Tzu, and I've been one of his students for over 50 years. And I will not accept a dictatorship or an authoritarian government. My family moved to 6 Mile Creek in East Tampa in '67. I was surprised to find out it was a Klan neighborhood, but I didn't buy into that. But I am a Creeker. You know, I took that out. And like I said, I'll stand up against this. I'm back to being a community activist. I'm involved with the North Tampa Dems. I'm here because I was asked to be their legislative tracker. And I enjoy being a community activist. Makes me feel good. But it upset me, and I just wanted to vent about it. And to warn this commission, you know, there is somebody poking into a private citizen's affairs, and that should never be accepted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Colbert. Dr. Charlie Sand, followed by George Neiman, and then Yvette Neiman.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, commissioners, county administrators, leadership, staff, and our community. I'm Dr. Charlie Sand. I just want to say a few words in recognition of the yeoman efforts by Plant City Fire Rescue in preparation for the Strawberry Festival. At the most recent Hillsborough County EMPC Emergency Medical Planning Council meeting a few weeks ago, which I have the honor of chairing, Plant City Fire Rescue Chiefs David Dittman and Raymond Torres, you want to come up here, dude? No? All right. A little shy. They're a little shy to come up. Gave a wonderful presentation on the medical response preparation for the currently being held Strawberry Festival. And just to put this complex plan in perspective, at the current festival, they're operating 3 first aid stations, 2 dedicated transport units assigned on the property. Each day, they're staffing the festival with 18 personnel, 2 medical carts, 1 UTV, utility terrain vehicle, equipped with fire suppression capabilities. And to top it off, they have an ambu bus for any potential, God forbid, MCI, mass casualty incidents that may transpire. Airbuses was kindly provided by Hillsborough County Fire Rescue, which is another example of how our local first responders work so well in collaboration. For a frame of reference, statistics from last year's festival, attendance was over 650,000. Medical patient contacts, 473, of which the majority were treated at the scene. Okay, 443 were treated at the scene, stay and treat, so we don't overburden our already overcrowded ERs. They treated most of them at the scene at the festival. Only 30 required transportation to local hospitals, which again is a reflection of their great medical care. We shall see what the numbers are for next week, but it's a little warm weather, so people need to hydrate and stay safe. So in summary, it's quite impressive. Our first responders, Plant City Fire Rescue, and their preparation, emergency response, medical plan, utmost desire to make the Strawberry Festival a seamless, safe, and wonderful event that it's known to be. To that, a well-deserved shout out to Fire Rescue, along with all of our first responders, including law enforcement, for once again going well beyond the call of duty to optimize acute medical care in our community. And last but not least, thank you to the Board of County Commission and county administrators for providing the resources to keep our community healthy and safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. Appreciate your comments and leadership. George Neiman, Mr. Neiman here, followed by Yvette Neiman, and then Tiffany Rentz. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners and public. My name is George Neiman, and I'm a resident of the Dover Woods subdivision in Dover, next to the true ground zero, which is the Energy Industrial Park. The zoning approval process grossly favors the applicant, as you should know. The Energy Industrial Park is a prime example. Some commissioners like to make the excuse that basically they must approve cases, otherwise the county will get sued. We heard some of that along the way with regard to the Energy Industrial Park. I want to share the following with the public. Here's the reality. A while back, I asked the county attorney's office to give me a list of all the denied land use cases for the previous 10 years that were challenged in court, along with the results of those challenges. It turned out that in that 10-year period, the county won in court when it was when a civil case was filed. They won 79% of the time. So much for the excuses we always hear from some commissioners, as though their hands are tied and they have no choice. We see a lot of hand-wringing, but it's false. It really isn't accurate. You do have a choice. If you didn't, we wouldn't need to have you sit in judgment of these hearings for land use. So when the next step in the energy industrial process comes before you next Tuesday in the land use case, please save us from hearing that your hands are tied and you have no choice but to automatically approve everything. We know that that's not true, and the county's own records demonstrate that. So next Tuesday, when this rezoning case comes before you, I ask you to use common sense, prudence, and some care for the rest of your constituents beyond just the property owner that has a project that wants to make money. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yvette Neiman, followed by Tiffany Rentz, which is virtual, and then Thomas Fernandez is virtual. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Yvette Neiman, Dover, and I live next to the contaminated former Dover phosphate mine, now known as Energy Industrial Park. I'm here today to make sure the public understands the realities we're facing if the proposed 1,200 homes on a contaminated phosphate mine continues to move forward. The public needs to be made aware that the county has approved having daycare centers on land which was used to store contaminated wastewater from phosphate mining. These contaminated pits are where the owners are going to put daycare centers, where children will spend many hours. This is insanity. None of this was discussed in any public forum so far, but now is the time for it to be exposed. The public needs to be made aware of it. It's bad enough that this county is going to let adults live and work on this tainted land, but are we going to risk the health and safety of our young, innocent infants and children by building daycare centers on mining land that clearly has contamination? And yes, we know that the county cleverly tried to distance themselves from these problems. However, the final approvals will be on your backs, Commissioners. Where is your conscience? Where is your reason? Where is your prudence? Please do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tiffany Rentz, is she on the line?
Mr. Chair, Tiffany Wentz did not sign it.
Okay, how about Thomas Fernandez?
Thomas, can you hear? Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. Hello. Yes, am I good to go? Okay. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, and friends of Hillsborough County. Thank you for having me. I'm Thomas Eloy Nova Fernandez, a Cuban-born immigrant a retired 20-year disabled Air Force veteran, and a proud Democratic candidate for governor of Florida. I was born in Havana, Cuba, raised in the United States, and served 20 years in the United States Air Force, and have called Florida home since 1997. Our campaign is based on a single idea, NOVA, navigating our vision ahead. I'm running because too many families, way too many families, live with the what-ifs of tomorrow. The sudden medical bills, the gap in childcare, the school or job shock that upends a way of life. NOVA is about leading differently, planning ahead, showing up in communities, and building durable solutions that protect families, security, and opportunities. My work has always been about service. Through Infinite Family and our partnership with, as a DCF Access partner, we've run health resources events, distributed food, and helped families in crises. If elected, NOVA will focus on affordability, education, accessible healthcare, and practical disaster and economic preparedness so families aren't left stranded by life shocks. This campaign is people-powered. We'll be in neighborhoods, holding town halls, and building volunteer teams across Florida. I'd be honored to partner with Hillsborough County to listen, to learn, and to work together. Please join us at our events, volunteer, or become a founding supporter to help NOVA get moving. Today is just the beginning. Today I ask you to join us in hope, in purpose, and in vision. Thank you for your time and for all you do for this community. I'm Thomas Eloy Nova Fernandez, and I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time.
Deborah Holliday, which is virtual, and the last speaker is Surgrit Doss. Is Ms. Holliday on the line?
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Holliday. I'm speaking about the development of the EIP in Dover. The public is concerned about the safety of this development of 3,000 acres. Existing private wells, the Florida and aquifer, the air we breathe, and human health are at risk. The BOCC did require 6 different agencies to do testing to assure the public it will be safe. The applicant recently stated under oath that testing reports would be available to the public, but the applicant says now that he will not release the results until a building permit is requested. This feels like something is being hidden. We have a 35-year tenured expert whose job was to work with sites just like these. We would like his feedback on the process and the results. We want all the testing information related to this site at the same time that is given to the applicant. Everything for this development has been getting approval. Planning used capacity numbers from schools not in the local district that are not even close to the property and okayed them to use. Traffic reports from 15 years ago were allowed to say that any traffic would not be a problem. Even if development is dangerous for human health, it still approved it. Traffic is severely congested in this area. The new development will add not only 1,200 homes worth of cars, but also traffic for 92 other approved homes being built and vehicles from commercial development. This property is surrounded on 3 sides by 2-lane roads. How will first responders get through? This property is also the habitat for animals such as gopher tortoises, sandhill cranes, deer, bobcats, and more. Their environment gone, their lives lost. I recently read that commissioners do have the right to deny a development based upon safety concerns if it constitutes a peril to public health, safety, or welfare. The county does have the right to reject projects that violate environmental, water quality, or safety standards. Development of this site has the potential to contaminate our water, threaten human health, and the environment. The EPC already told you there are tailings from the phosphate mine in the ground. 1,4-dioxane is the forever carcinogenic chemical that moves to the ground when disturbed. It has already expanded twice. Removal of the berms will cause more runoff water to adjacent homes who have private wells in the area. There is a possibility of radioactive contaminants from the berms being inhaled by surrounding residents during development. Why is this not enough to stop development? How many of you would live there with your families or live adjacent to this area during development? I'm asking you to think about how you would feel and act accordingly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Last speaker, Sirgret Doss. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, County Commissioners. My name is Sirgret Doss, and I don't know if I'm allowed to use that, but you all, I'm giving you all something that I sent to you a few weeks ago, and I didn't get any responses. But first, I want to make sure I give a shout out to Javante Edmonds for HB 253, which dealt with veterans' dental care. It's something that's much needed, and a person shouldn't have to be 100% in order to receive health care if you're a veteran. But I wanted to talk about whether or not Mr. Will Shepherd still works here. And I know that you all should be familiar with this. I don't know if you consider it or not, but I don't really care. I'll read it. He says, we have about 5 properties that at one time were in Mr. Doss's name. Would you like to come by and see them, and we can explain them better? And this is Will Shepherd back in 2017 when I was being prosecuted for purging the official proceeding because a sitting judge at the time, Gregory Holder, and Michael Victor, a police officer who's actually the mayor's head of security, and he said, Mike says, yeah, let's do this thing anyway. So there was a collusion to take over $1 million worth of properties out of my possession. I never had a day in court, but he said I can get you a list of the other properties he held for a short period of time, and theoretically, I guess he would have had to own the properties on the date that he made the allegation that he didn't own any property. That never happened. And because of the time restraint, I need to know if this guy still works here. And there's 2 veterans on this board, so I know you all should feel some kind of way that a veteran's properties were taken without due process. I'm also the son of 2 retired Air Force veterans. Love them. They didn't do the Army thing like I did. Well, my dad did for a little while. But nevertheless, the fact remains that the county is not actually a litigant in the lawsuit that I actually have in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. But you all have an obligation, because there's also a couple of lawyers here that know that whenever there's any allegation of misconduct, and you can look any kind of way about it, but just look it up. And if you don't believe me or don't trust what I'm telling you, just run it through any kind of this artificial intelligence that can scrutinize documents and what have you. But the reality is, there are 4 properties that were in my name that were taken out of my name without a day in court. So I'm kind of wondering how those properties got sold if Sirgret Doss was never divested legally of ownership. That being said, Miss Amy back here didn't sign up, and you all make the rules so you can give her a mulligan and allow her to speak on the issue with her property. That being said, shout out to the greatest institution of higher learning in this county, the University of Thomas Jefferson High School.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. All right, that closes public comment. Can we have a motion to
Move to approve.
Second. Consent agenda? Okay, motion Commissioner Meyer, second Commissioner Wostel to approve the consent agenda. Please record your vote.
Commissioner Cameron, thank you. Motion carried 7-0.
Okay. Lonnie, we got a few minutes for our first time certain.
Yes, sir. We can move to item B1. This is to approve a conveyance agreement in Progress Village for certain stormwater, floodplain, and community improvements with MMI. Greg Horwoodell and John Muller will take us through this presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning, board members. Greg Horwoodell, Deputy County Administrator. Just some brief introductory comments before I turn it over to John. This is a very unique project. As you may recall, staff presented to the board last year about how to maximize potential for underutilized properties and surplus properties throughout the county. We have worked on this particular project for a number of months. I'm very pleased that we are able to bring this to you because, and while live local may be a dirty word, I think we want to all see more control over a zoning process. As a result of this project, we will not go through a live local with the developer's parcel. They have agreed to go through the county's normal zoning and permitting process. And I think that that is a testament to the partnership that we've had on this project and shows other developers that, in fact, we can at the county level work with you, and it doesn't necessarily have to bypass the Board of County Commissioners approval. And I'm very pleased that we're able to bring this as part of that effort. Would also note that this project has community support, and you heard some of the comments during public comment. It will add additional stormwater capacity. To make certain that that is true, we have a number of safeguards in the agreement that John will be going over with you that protect the county and make sure that the developer actually installs what they committed to install. Lastly, I would note that the community as well, but most importantly and publicly, I want to thank District 3 Commissioner Gwen Myers for standing by staff as we work through this process. As with any type of development, there's often times where you hit bumps in the road, and it's nice to know that we have the support of the commissioner in her district. Okay. John.
Thank you.
Good morning, John.
Excellent intro, Greg. I just want to note that Josh Bellotti is also up here, and Josh was also very helpful with us. Not to forget you, Josh. Can I please have the slide up? Okay, so good morning. For the record, John Muller, Director of Facilities Management, Real Estate Services. Today we're asking for your consideration for the conveyance agreement with MMI, BRN, Propco 2, or I'll refer to them as MMI. These are for easements related to 13.15 acres of land located within the county 48-acre Progress Village stormwater site. I'll note that MMI is a development company that owns 39.51 areas of vacant land adjacent to the county site. As you can see on this slide, MMI completed a previous build of 291 multifamily units just to the south. I'll also note that the County Public Works Department is completing a 14-acre stormwater and floodplain project, should be by mid-year, on this same 40-acre site, which when done will improve the overall drainage in the Progress Village community. Next slide, please. Today's agreement is the result of our negotiations with MMI, sorry, I'll do it. I got you. I can do it. Today's agreement is a result of our negotiations with MMI, who was the sole responder to an RFP which the board authorized in July of last year. In exchange for allowing MMI the easements for the county's adjacent property, and I'll emphasize these are easements, not ownership, for stormwater and floodplain, they've committed to $3 million of community improvements, and then they will maintain both their improvements and the county's storm ponds and floodplain. The county, for our part, would agree to be included in a new planned development, which MMI plans to apply for up to 630 multifamily units. Now, clearly, this is similar density to MMI's 291 units previously built. However, our agreement, as Deputy County Administrator Horwedel mentioned, requires that their plans be permitted through standard zone or plan development. So there's a lot on the slide, but it's important, particularly for those in the community who talked about the benefits. So on the left of the slide, you can see that MMI and the county agreed to use their 13.15 acres in both floodplain and pond areas. This does leave the county some additional future land, 13 acres plus or minus, for access, maintenance, as well as some additional storm or flood capacity. So what exactly are the $3 million in benefits? MMI is committed to signage and branding of Progress Village, with large archway signs over roadways for $350,000. The contract calls for approximately 9,100 linear feet of boardwalk and pathways, which are valued at $900,000. These will be used to connect the surrounding parks and the surrounding schools and parks with the neighborhoods. And we also have indicated that in the agreement that an estimated 3.5 acres of the storm flood easements committed to them are intended to go above and beyond what they require for their development. So we wanted that initial estimate number. That will be important as we validate that in the future. This has an estimated construction value of about $1.3 million. And lastly, there's $450K in landscaping. So I mentioned earlier that the county would agree to be included in a planned development. As part of that inclusion, there is a requirement that 40% or 252 units be 120% AMI, area medium income eligible. We also ensured in the agreement that the height of these matches what they previously built, no more than 58 feet high. And as I mentioned previously, they will be responsible for maintenance improvements and stormwater ponds and floodplain. So our agreement, we wanted to ensure there were provisions to ensure that they deliver on the promise of these benefits. So first of all, the improvements are all to be completed during their first phase of construction in order for a certificate of occupancy to be obtained. So all the improvements must be in. We're on the front end, not the back end. They must provide proof of their cost, and the county has the sole option to call for an independent appraisal of the finished improvements. If we review those costs, we're not satisfied, we can call for an appraisal, and a shortfall would need to be made up in improvements or funds. And then lastly, and most importantly, this agreement must demonstrate improvements or reduction in flooding models for the basins. We've already stated there's an estimate of 3.5 acres worth of improvement. Now that's where Mr. Bellatti's team comes in, because not only does their design need to be reviewed through permitting, but there is a separate requirement in there that internally his stormwater modeling team must be certain that that is demonstrated in their models for the water reductions. And also, lastly, I'll mention the pond construction can't begin until Josh's team has signed off on this. So this last slide, this is it, just gives you the visuals. Now, these were actual exhibits that MMI provided in their proposal. So we took these, we put some additional information, but we wanted these in there because they show the size and the scale of the arches and gates that they've promised to be put up for there. In addition, when we talk about the pathways and the boardwalks, they mentioned Lucy Dell Park. They mentioned a very nice conservation type park walkthrough. So we actually attached the specifications from Lucy Dell Park. Those are in your agreement, and also from some of our nature preserves. And that's really all I have today. I realize that was a lot, but we're available for any of your questions.
Thank you, John. Appreciate the very thorough presentation. Going to board discussion, Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, before I get started, I'd just like to thank staff, because we've been working on this project for the past 4 or 5 years, and I know we've been meeting with the community, and with this project today, it is going to help with the stormwater and the flooding out in Progress Village. Also, I want to say I was in Progress Village on Sunday, and we had all the large pipes, so we are working right now in Progress Village as I speak, because I saw several large piping that was going to deal with the drainage. But I want to say the late, great Sam Cooke sang a song, "A Change is Going to Come." And that's what's going to happen out in Progress Village when this project is completed. They're going to see that they have the signage that they have been talking about for years, and in this proposal, it only shows one. I'm going to ask staff if we have additional funding that we put another one, whether it goes at 78th or 301. Okay?
Correct. But I'll note also one point in the agreement is the agreement allows some fluctuation between the amounts I gave, their estimates. It may very well be that the $350,000 will cover more. It may very well be that the boardwalk. So we can wait till the appropriate time. But that is noted, and the developer's in the room, and I'm sure he took a note on it.
Okay. And then also, as we have flooding out there, we had a lot of flooding in 2024. And I want to personally thank, as the commissioner for District 3, Kim Byer and Josh, whenever we have heavy raining in the flood, we always get our type of equipment to pump all the water out. Whether I get the call at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock, staff respond to me and immediately go out and make an assessment to help alleviate all of the flooding that has happened in Progress Village. We know for years, even when I was a staff here, that it was flooding in Progress Village because what? It's no drainage. This is what the county is doing now. Since I became a commissioner, that has been the top issue out in Progress Village. How could we help with the flooding? And the county is doing an excellent job. We just put in a $10 million project, am I correct, Josh, to help with the flooding out there. We have town hall meetings that address with the residents. We're going to have one, I want to say, on April 19th, that we're going to give an update to the Progress Village residents. That is also going to talk about the CDBG-DR funding and all out in that area. So one of the things that they talked about safety. Oh, my security is, I didn't plug it up last night, so it's talking to me, but it's okay, Sheriff, I'm here. Okay. I forgot to plug it up last night. But one of the things I'm going to ask, and that maybe staff can come back, is that we consider an overhead pedestrian walking. Maybe we can look at this out of the CDBG-DR funding that can help with the safety, so that as they're crossing Progress Village Boulevard from one side of the village to the other, they can have an overpath to walk and cross instead of trying to cross the street right on Progress Village Boulevard. I noticed that on Sunday when I was there. There were some pedestrians trying to cross the street. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move to approve for this project. And again, staff, thank you all so much for addressing the various issues that we continue to have in Progress Village. And I'm sure before I leave office, everything is going to be taken care of in Progress Village. Thank you all so much.
We got a motion to approve by Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Wostel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I hope the change that's coming from that song was in reference to the thousands of new cars that are going to go through the decrepit streets of Progress Village from this development. To quote the great Commissioner Harry Cohen, live local is a mechanism for developers to force us to negotiate with a gun to our head. And I want to make no mistake to the community, that's exactly what this developer and applicant did to this, what I consider a historic community. Just to refresh the audience and anybody who's watching's memory, Progress Village was essentially created because of an old process in the 30s called redlining that was created by the Homeowners Loan Coalition and then was expanded by Democratic President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the Florida Housing Act of 1934, which expanded extremely racist and segregating processes that disallowed basically black communities to receive loans. This was an opportunity for them to have home ownership, and I do believe that they deserved a lot of effort by the board to protect them, which is why I took such extraordinary efforts to have all of their meetings. The consistent response that I heard from the community was affordable to who? And I realized these are my people because they know that affordable housing is fake. And that's exactly what they're going to get here. An opportunity that they can't afford to live in with a few stormwater improvements, which is going to be the only reason that I'm going to vote for this. With that being said, I do believe that there's an opportunity to turn this lemon into lemonade for Progress Village, and after this motion, Mr. Chair, I will have a second motion if you'd be so kind to entertain it.
Okay, so absolutely. So we got a motion on the floor, from Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Cohen. I just want to say, Commissioner Myers, I want to thank you for your leadership, not only for this item, but everything you've done for the Progress Village community. From the moment you've been in that seat, you've championed improvements and improving the quality of life for Progress Village, and I just hope that they recognize that. Okay, if we got a motion and a second, please record your vote.
Commissioner Cohen, Commissioner Karen-Spader.
My screen is not working, but yeah, I vote yes.
Same here. Mine's not working, but yes for me.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, Commissioner Wostel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've received a number from staff that the potential mobility fees from this project are going to be somewhere around the ballpark of $3 million. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the information Development Service provided us.
Okay. The Deputy County Administrator has highlighted and reinforced my arguments to the community to vote for the new expanded single-member districts because I am also the County Commissioner for District 3, but that is not how staff operates. They always look at who's the single-member district, and I've always encouraged the community to understand that as a reality and acknowledge that they will get better representation from single-member districts because of what you just heard. I I am the District 3 Commissioner, Commissioner Bowles is, Commissioner Cepeda is as well. We all represent those same constituents. I believe that this community has been overlooked in the past, despite staff's excellent attempts to turn these projects into a benefit for them. I believe that it's incumbent upon this board to not allow these new mobility fees to go directly into the mobility map that can be spent far outside of the Progress Village community. So I would like to make a motion to direct staff to determine a variety of mobility and transportation enhancements within the Progress Village community, work with those community stakeholders, and designate the entirety of these new mobility fees to those enhancements. That is my motion, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Welstel, second Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. Don't see anyone in the queue. Please record your vote.
I need to ask a question.
Commissioner Myers, give me a comment.
Would this come back to us so we can see what it all entails before we take a vote?
Absolutely. I believe that's the intent of Commissioner Wustel's motion, if I heard it correctly anyway. Identify the projects and then bring that back to the board.
Oh, okay, that's what I didn't hear. I said the community, so I didn't want us to bypass. Okay, thank you.
For motion and second, please record your vote.
It's not working. Yes. I think it's.
Okay, Bonnie, on first time certain.
Yes, the first time certain is item D1. This is a public hearing regarding the annual action plan to report to HUD and to close the public comment period. Cheryl Howell will present this public hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cheryl Howell, Assistant County Administrator, Community Impact. And we're here today to conduct a public hearing to accept comments on the substantial amendment for plan years 2018 through 2023 of the annual action plans, and to close the public comment period that began on February 4th, 2026. In addition, we're here to adopt the substantial amendment to the public plan year 2018 to 23 annual action plans for submittal to HUD as well. The Affordable Housing Services has properly noticed the public hearing in the local newspapers, public libraries, and the county's website. There's no fiscal impact related to adopting the substantial amendments to the public annual action plans. This is a public hearing.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. This public hearing, one individual has signed up, Denise Herndon. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Denise Herndon. It's hard for me to find issues or find information on these HUD requests and stuff. I don't understand all of it, but I'm here to help people that need, and like Wolstill said, affordable isn't affordable in this area. And I bought my house 27 years ago, the end of August, for $90,000. And everybody around me has always made more money than I have made. I was just fortunate. God blessed me to find this home. God blessed me to have Shirlene Hammond, my son's school bus driver at the time, move next door to me. I don't know if she knew who I was, but after I owned my home 10 years, and when you can't even buy a home less than $250,000, there's a problem. You want to increase all these small business loans. What about our VAs? What are you doing for our VA small business loans? You know, there's VA persons living or working for Hillsborough County, and they'd like to start a business, but Hillsborough County, who they work for, doesn't have a program to help them. All of our hospitality jobs, they can't afford a home, and if you're renting, I'm sorry, you're still paying property taxes because that owner of that complex is paying property taxes. It's just not coming directly from the renter. But through rental, it's ridiculous, the prices. You are going to price everybody out of here because you're giving money to the developers. This has got to stop. When is it going to stop that you commissioners vote for the land developers? I disagree with waiving the impact fees for somebody who has, just because you've applied for a permit doesn't mean that you have even done anything yet with it. You need to not vote that down. You need to charge what you guys had improved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Herndon. Okay, that closes the public comment period. Can we have a motion to adopt the substantial amendments to the annual action plan? Get a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Meyer, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on D1.
Motion carried, 7-0.
D2.
Thank you. The next item is item D2. This is also a public hearing to consider changes to the code and ordinances relating to the water and wastewater impact fees. And Hank Ennis will take us through this item, and Lisa Ray is here if needed as well.
Good morning, Hank.
Good morning. Hank Ennis, County Attorney's Office. Commissioners, back in December of last year, the board voted for increases to the water and wastewater impact fees. You approved a change to the rate resolution relating to water and wastewater impact fees. Part of that discussion was to give consideration to those folks that are currently in the approval process, so they will not have to pay the new higher water and wastewater impact fees, but they would be subject to the rates before those impact fees go into effect. We made the appropriate changes to the code to accommodate that request, and this is a public hearing to consider those changes, and Lisa is going to go ahead and walk you through what those changes are.
Thank you, Hank. Lisa Ray, Director of Water Resources. And just real quick, what we did, the board asked us to give consideration to projects that were already in the queue. And to do this, we worked closely with Development Services and the County Attorney's Office, obviously, to ensure that we set up a path forward that was measurable. What we have done is any application, any submitted complete application that had been received by Development Services on the date that the impact fees were voted on became eligible to be grandfathered in. That is about 17,000 ERCs. Now, the next hurdle is that they received their utility service request number by March 22nd, 2026. So that is a couple of weeks away. The utility service request number can usually be received within 2 to 3 weeks of a complete application, so we were actually giving them 3 months to get to that point. Then the next step is the accrued guaranteed revenue fee, having 1/6 of that paid by the end of the fiscal year. So we are increasing their level of commitment each time as we move forward with each of the steps. And then the final step, which is usually the step that establishes the impact fee that they will be paying, is that they have to have a completed building permit application by March 22nd of 2028, which is 2 years to get to the building application time. We will be monitoring this, working very closely with Development Services and sending out notifications. We also sent out notifications of this multiple times to TBBA, ABC, and NAPCO? NAIOP. I'm sorry, NAIOP. And we have not received any comments. Development Services has not received any comments. And so we ask for your approval, and I'll answer any questions.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. One individual has signed up to speak, Denise Herndon.
Denise Herndon again. I've been going to these meetings now a little over 2 years, and the reason we have infrastructure issues is because past county commissioners that long ago were waiving these. The people that are really making money here are the developers and then the mortgage companies. That's who's making money. And when you guys vote this down, the developer's not going to take it out of their pocket. They should absorb this cost. But no, they tack it on to the homeowner, the new price of the home. And that is wrong. Who's getting rich? It's the developers. And who's got the money here? Not the developers. Or I should say, who doesn't have the money here? It's the people buying the homes. We need to stop this insanity. Tampa Bay is an awesome community. You're going to make it turn into a concrete town just like South Florida is on the East Coast. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, there's hardly any land. When I was a small child, you'd have to go out into the boonies just to get to 27. At that time was the only road that you could really get out of the state of Florida. And now they're passing that. Something has to stop. You guys need to stop. The people that have the money to buy these homes, they've got the money to travel. And you guys need to think about what you are turning our community into. Because it's the little people. I never made over $70,000 in my life as a respiratory therapist, and I was able to support myself and my son. I just don't have to have name brand things. People think I'm homeless. I don't really care if people think I'm homeless. That's their problem. This is what's wrong with our society. You've got to better up. When you do get a pay raise, you got to spend it all. You got to spend it, spend it, spend it. And so it shows like you've made nothing, but in the end, who's making the money is the developers that you are going to now vote down or vote to not have them pay these new impact fees. I can see if they've already started building like the Loop Apartments on Town Center Boulevard and South Gornto Lake Road. That's affordable housing. We'll see how affordable it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that closes public comment. Going to board discussion. Commissioner Wostel.
Thank you, Chair. I would just real briefly for the public and the speaker, this is actually us basically more than tripling the impact fees to the developer for water and wastewater. It was my motion that I threw out as a Hail Mary, but it got unanimous support, and this is quite literally us holding the developers accountable for exactly what their cost of doing business here is in Hillsborough County and making sure that those burdens aren't shifted onto the existing residents. Thank you. Do you need a motion?
Yes.
I'll move for approval.
That's an excellent point, Commissioner Wostel. Motion to approve, Commissioner Wostel. Second, Commissioner Miller. Please record your vote on D2.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Our last public hearing.
Thank you. Our last public hearing is item D3. This is an ordinance repealing and replacing the solicitation and distribution in public roads and ordinances. And Cameron Clark is here, and he does have representatives from TPD and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Cameron.
Good morning, Commissioners. Cameron Clark, Assistant County Attorney. This item is to repeal and replace a 1991 ordinance that prohibits people from going into the roadway to give or exchange items from occupants in motor vehicles. The ordinance was upheld in 1995 in federal court. However, there was a U.S. Supreme Court decision from about 10 years ago that once it made its way down, a county court judge found this ordinance to be unconstitutionally as being a content-based restriction on speech, which it needs to be content neutral. And so the purpose of this ordinance is to repeal the previous ordinance and replace it with language that is content neutral, and so law enforcement can continue to enforce it. It was amended in 2011. One of the changes at that time was to give the opportunity for county-wide enforcement of this ordinance. The previous version was only in the unincorporated county. The current version, because Tampa has repealed their ordinance on the same subject, Tampa enforces this within their boundaries as well. And as such, their representatives of the Sheriff's Office and Tampa PD to provide some comments for you. Thanks.
Thanks, Cameron. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commission. I'm Jim Reiser. I'm with the Tampa Police Department. I was a traffic sergeant for 9 years and retired in 2023. Now, I now lead the department's traffic safety efforts in relation to automated enforcement. We ask that you support this ordinance today by voting in the affirmative. We feel it's going to provide a valuable safety tool to promote roadway safety within the city of Tampa. The ordinance promotes fairness and clarity. It applies equally to everyone, and it regulates conduct and location, but more importantly, it provides an objective safety standard for officers out there to enforce. So we ask that you vote in the affirmative today in support of this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Ferguson with Tampa Police Department, the current traffic sergeant. Just for stats purposes, from FDOT fiscal year 2027, the highway safety matrix, Hillsborough County ranks 4th in pedestrian fatalities, serious bodily injuries, and the city of Tampa ranks 3rd in the state for fatalities and serious bodily injuries. So again, I, as the city of Tampa, support this measure too for public safety.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Major Troy Morgan with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. I'm currently the commander of the Traffic Services Division. I've come here before you to let you know that the importance of this ordinance. We've seen an increase from 24 to 25 in pedestrian crashes, as well as a decrease in arrests because we've seen an uptick in, obviously, solicitation. This is a key factor to public safety, and please, we need the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Commissioners, we're here to take any questions you have. This is a public hearing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cameron. This public hearing, one individual signed up, Denise Herndon.
Hello, I'm Denise Herndon. I have been all for this. When I did drive, it was a pain to have traffic backed up that's already backed up from traffic, but let alone having somebody out there begging for money, because that's all they're doing. The only thing that I'm going to miss in this is that when I haven't driven now since September 2020, when my road had gotten repaved. And I enjoyed the fire trucks out there with their fire boots. That's the only people that I would ever give money for. The people that are out there begging on the street, that's their job. I would go and talk to them because, like I said, they think I'm homeless because I have this cart and I drive, or I don't drive, I walk, or I use the bus. And they say, oh, I gotta go to work. And then they stand out on the corner. That's their job. And I support this 100%. And why this has taken so long, it's a shame. I know that there's this one gentleman that he's got a 2026 Toyota, and he's at the corner of Gornto Lake Road and Causeway, and he can't make enough money from his job, so he's selling flowers. That's got to go, because if you let one do it, you let all of the others. I fully support and why it has taken so long for something that has been on the books for so long, and this needs to be statewide. And if these people can't get a job, then let's put them all on Epstein's Island. If they can't join society, let them, it'd be cheaper to give them their food on an island that they refuse to work. I understand that there are some people that are mentally ill and they can't, but there are some who it's just easier to stand on that corner and do nothing. And I've 100% applaud this, and why has it taken so long? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that closes public comment. We'll go into board discussion. Commissioner Wilson?
Just briefly, the ruling is absurd. This has no bearing against the county attorney's office, and the law enforcement officers throughout the county are just trying to keep people safe, so I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion to approve, Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Cohen. And I just want to say, excellent work by the county attorney's office I can't believe it's been 2011, last time that we amended this. Seems like it was yesterday, and I can remember back then, several intersections in the county, and the median would be maybe a foot wide at an angle like this, and there's someone trying to stand on it. It's like, you're a goner, bud. You don't even know it yet. And so anything we can do to, from safety reasons, to ensure our folks are safe. But again, I know it's been a little bit challenging, but so I appreciate the work from Julia and Cameron in the County Attorney's Office. Commissioner Bowles.
Yeah, just to actually address what the speaker was just talking about. Yes, the fire rescue used to be out there for many years, both the local municipalities, but because of the issues with our traffic and how congested it is, and for safety reasons, we had to enforce internal policies as well, prohibiting that. I did have a question for Cameron, though. So I appreciate that, Ms. Herndon, for saying that. Turn off my mic. This would be like a misdemeanor?
Yes. Under state law, ordinances can be created by local governments that are enforceable the same as misdemeanors. So the maximum penalty is a $500 fine and 60 days in jail.
Okay. All right. But so, I mean, I absolutely think we need to get people out of the roadway for safety reasons, but we're not clogging up our jails with a whole bunch of people that are selling flowers in newspapers and whatnot as well. I mean, so there's a fine line.
And of course, the key part, and it's one of the things that sort of was the part of the judge's decision, because that issue had come up 15 years ago when we talked about this, is in order for the regulation to be enforceable, I mean, essentially, if you're selling a charity drive in a roadway, you're just in as much danger as someone who is panhandling or any other activity. So yeah, as far as the volume of arrests and stuff, I couldn't speak to that. The sheriff's or TPD may be able to, but it is enforced equally against everyone.
Yeah, okay. And to the sergeant or the major, I think our goal here is certainly public safety, and I think you all share that. But at the same time, it would be, we don't want to clog up the system with a bunch of people as well. So I guess, however we're ticketing and then kind of.
Sir, you got to go to the microphone.
Okay. Sorry.
I mean, normally when if it's going to be about public safety, and it's not about clogging up the jails, right? Yeah. It is a misdemeanor. It's the idea of making sure that we're keeping the pedestrians, our motorists, being able to flow through our county safely without any injury, without any issues. And if we say you can't walk up and ask for $1, what's the difference if someone's using the ruse of I'm selling flowers or I'm selling water? They're still in the roadway creating a hazard and potential increases, which we've seen this past year, unfortunately, in pedestrian crashes. And that's all we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, totally agree. I sit on the TPO with several other commissioners up here, and we have what's the zero policy? Yeah, so that, looking for, none. I don't think that's ever going to be likely, but if we can get as close to that as possible, and I think this is a major step in that direction.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, both gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second, and again, special thanks to ACSO and TPD for their support and leadership on this. Please record your vote.
Yes. The motion carried 7-0.
Hey, Bonnie.
Thank you. The next time certain item is Chair Hagan's item F2, regarding partnership with USF on critical infrastructure and public safety improvements.
Thanks, Bonnie. Commissioner, I think everyone knows how excited I am about our Mosey development project. During each board discussion, I've said when you consider this project along with USF's new stadium and golf course redevelopment plans, that we have an incredible opportunity to completely transform this part of the county. And I know that several commissioners have made similar comments. Well, I'm equally excited about what we're discussing this morning because this partnership will be the foundation for completely transforming and underperforming an asset, adding to our tax base, and creating an economic hub in an area that, let's be honest, has been largely deprived. For those of you who are unaware, Hillsborough County, our county partnerships with USF is nothing new. Hillsborough County has a long history of partnering with USF on infrastructure, with the Institute of Applied Engineering, and on job creation efforts in entrepreneurship and with USF's technology incubator. What I'm proposing today is a significant investment, so I wanted the board to have the information in advance of introducing the item today. Since you have the PowerPoint, I'm not going to read every slide, but I do want to briefly describe how we got here and why I think this is an appropriate and prudent investment in partnership that we should consider. With us today are Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees for USF, Mike Griffin, CFO, Jen Condon, and the VP for Government Relations, Lauren Hutman. I was with USF's new president, Moaz Alayem, on Sunday, and he asked if he should be here. And honestly, he's been on the job for about 2 weeks. I know he's underwater, catching up and meeting all of every professor, every dean, everyone wants a piece of his time. I said, don't worry about it, so please do not read anything into his absence. As I was thinking about how to introduce this item, I remembered a letter hanging on my wall from former USF President Judy Genshaft from 2003. No, that's a long time ago. I thought 2011 for the last item was a long time ago, but this is 2003. At that time, she thanked me for championing our partnership with USF's Research Triangle, and she also stated, I would be remiss if I did not remind you of your observation that USF is the most underutilized asset in this community. She went on to say, we will work together to fix that. That was then. Today, thanks to the leadership of President Rhea Law and the outstanding Board of Trustees led by Will Weatherford and Mike Griffin, USF is not only on the rise, but their trajectory is truly remarkable. Academically, USF has earned membership into the AAU, which is a prestigious group of only 3% of universities in the country. Athletically, USF has won 7 conference championships since last year, including men's basketball and indoor track this weekend. We'll open a beautiful new state-of-the-art stadium next fall, and in their infinite wisdom, hired our good friend Rob Higgins to be the country's first CEO of athletics. And by the way, USF is experiencing record research funding, having eclipsed $750 million last year on its way of reaching their $1 billion goal. Additionally, USF is the county's largest and one of the county's largest and most important economic engines, with over 16,000 employees generating $6.6 billion in income to the Tampa Bay region's economy. Now, for nearly a year, I've been meeting with Vice Chair Mike Griffin on a myriad of issues, including their on-campus stadium, synergies with USF and our new indoor complex, and most importantly, the Fletcher district development, and really discussing how and where it makes sense for the county to partner. Now, concurrent with these discussions, our board has been progressing with the county's largest economic development project ever, with the Mosey development directly across the street. I know we're all familiar with USF in this part of the county, but just want to point out that we have Mosey to the south on Fowler. The new on-campus stadium is just north on campus, and then just north of that is this, the stadium is the old golf course on Fletcher, which would be the location for the future Fletcher district. This entire corridor is less than a mile. This area is located in the city. The northern and eastern boundaries, Fletcher and 50th Street, are county roads, and then the southern boundary, Fowler, is a state road, and then just across the street on 50th is Temple Terrace. So we have a lot of partners, and I feel strongly from a safety and transportation or traffic perspective that we should work with all of our partners to create a seamless corridor where students, residents, and visitors alike can easily and safely traverse between Mosey and the Fletcher district. Now, that being said, one of the first questions I had for Vice Chair Griffin was, how much skin in the game does USF have, and what is the governor and legislature doing to support USF? He shared that on the Tampa campus alone, USF has over $1 billion underway and in the near future for these capital projects. I also learned, and on page 8, the backup, it references how in last year's budget, the legislature and Governor DeSantis approved $31.1 million for East Tampa infrastructure in support of the stadium. To date, their funding has gone for things like stormwater, a new water facility, environmental, plaza and walkway. Again, not to build the stadium, but for infrastructure in support of the development. So toward the end of last year, myself, Bonnie, and Greg, we met with USF staff to better understand how that partnership has worked. Afterward, we decided it made sense to utilize a similar model as the state to support the Fletcher district, since the legislature's funding focused on the East Campus infrastructure. So after working with USF and our staff, slide 9 best describes what this partnership would be for: infrastructure and public safety improvements, not restricted to, but including turn lanes, traffic improvements, for example, turn signal, intersection improvement, new roads, and a pedestrian bridge, which is reflected in the last page of our backup. To put it into perspective, the pedestrian bridge over Fletcher is needed. That price tag alone is estimated to be in the $10 million range. The extent of other transportation improvements is undetermined, but we know will be substantial. And why it's undetermined is USF just received the Board of Governors approval in December. They're moving very quickly with an anticipated spring 2028 opening. So internally, staff and I considered several things before bringing this forward, including USF's billion-dollar investment in the corridor, the significant infrastructure cost associated with the development, the legislature's $31.1 million capital outlay that they've already given for infrastructure, and then our existing CIT capacity. We focused on the existing CIT because we do not want to jeopardize our current project list that's associated with the newly reauthorized CIT, and also the existing CIT will not reduce any funding from another potential partnership that you may have read a little bit about lately. So after considering all those issues, we decided to move forward with $24 million out of our existing CIT that will not be bonded and can be spread out over 3 to 4 years if necessary. A couple points, and then I'm going to close. Slides 5 and 6 highlight some of the economic benefits of the Fletcher district. I want to emphasize we're focusing on phase 1, which is 28 acres. This is only 1/4 of the entire 111-acre tract. So there'll be considerable future development occurring on the remaining 83 acres that we're not talking about now, which will add even more revenue to our tax rolls. So that's an important point I want to underscore. Also, I know many of the board members have had the opportunity to tour and see the progress of the on-campus stadium. If you're like me, I know you walked away realizing this is going to be an incredible state-of-the-art facility. But as much of a game changer as the stadium will be, I intentionally de-emphasized that part of USF's overall transformation, my backup, because number one, we cannot ignore what's happening with the stadium. It will open next fall in advance of the Fletcher district and is certainly a critical element in creating this economic hub. However, the partnership we're talking about today is focused on the Fletcher district development, which stands on its own merits and doesn't need the new stadium to make the case on why we should pursue this partnership. So that's why the backup touches on the stadium but does not focus on it. Lastly, staff considered utilizing tourist tax revenue for funding, but did not feel that it was an appropriate source. So, for the purpose of today, in my motion, it's in 2 parts, and I worked with staff on preparing this. So I'll pass the gavel to the vice chair, and it's to approve $24 million in funding for key infrastructure and public safety improvements associated with the Fletcher District Development Project. The funding source should be our existing CIT, not to be bonded, and if necessary, spread out over 3 to 4 years. Additionally, direct the county administrator to include this in our fiscal year 27 budget, develop the required interlocal agreement with USF, and to take any steps necessary to facilitate such improvements.
Second.
I have a motion by Chair Hagan and a second by Commissioner Bowles.
Sure.
And Commissioner Whistle. Commissioner Bowles.
Thank you, Chair Hagan. Took a lot of my remarks on that. I think that's fantastic. This is something that's needed. One of the things that recently we went to the State of the Region and by the Tampa Bay Partnership, and I hadn't been on campus in quite a while. I went to USF, and what I noticed was how many e-bikes, how many people on these little unicycle wheel things that look like skateboards with one wheel. There's so many, hundreds and hundreds of people, pedestrians walking around, and here we are, we're changing our ordinance to save lives and keep pedestrians safe here. This is just another, I see another extension of that. That whole area, and I don't remember, I bet you Ken would probably remember, we have a senior zone there, a senior zone because we were worried about the seniors that were going to be walking around in that area, and that senior zone has a reduced mile per hour. Was that Victor that did that?
Commissioner Blair is the one that changed.
That's Blair. Oh, there you go. Okay,
zones.
so, yeah. So that was a few minutes ago. But that being the case, so that just shows you how much attention has actually been on an area. 42nd Street, 46th Street, there's thousands of young adults and people living in those areas, and they traverse Fletcher Avenue every single day, if not once, twice, maybe 4 or 5 times a day, going back and forth to their homes and their apartments, ensuring that those people are safe, that we're taking care of them. And especially, I've had the opportunity to be on campus quite often over the last few weeks in seeing, again, that pedestrian traffic. This is a step in the right direction. We got to do this, and I fully support it.
Thank you, Commissioner Whistle.
Thank you. Bonnie, how much is in the reserves for the current CIT?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number right with me, but.
Our local rain
there we
man
go.
definitely will have.
You say that respectfully, though, right? Yeah.
Kevin Bricky mentioned budget, approximately $60 million.
60 million. And what do we expect to take from now through November, which I thought it ended September 30th, but it's odd and it ends in
From
November.
October and November, we would expect that our share would be approximately 20 million more.
Through the rest of the year?
For October and November, that's FY '27.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what you're expecting to use as that final 2 months for this?
It would be the reserves that we have and the remaining 2 months of the CIT.
Okay. I only ask, and I don't think Bonnie needs a motion, but it reminded me of the urgency for us to get a status report on Lithia Pinecrest and Van Dyke, the 2 largest infrastructure projects that we essentially convinced the voters in the unincorporated area to vote for the CIT renewal. And now we have many people lining up projects for the CIT, which I second this. I'm going to support. I think it's a good project. I think we'll definitely get our money back. But it reminded me of the urgency for us to make sure that we lock in and bond what we need to for these major transportation projects. And as we keep bringing up items to expend these CIT funds, I want to remind the public exactly what they voted on. And this board needs to make sure, in my opinion, that we prioritize those projects. But I think this is another good project for the area, and I'm going to be supporting it. Thank you for bringing those numbers up to me, Mr. Bricky.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you very much. First of all, Commissioner Hagan, congratulations on an excellent work with this, and thank you for summarizing it so well. I wanted to just add a few very brief comments to what you already said. I was also out at USF yesterday to see the new stadium, and it really is just so unbelievably exciting. Just to see it is to really be inspired and to recognize what could be coming as the centerpiece of this area. But it isn't just about the university. The university, of course, is sort of the beating heart at the center of it, but the Mosey project is going to be huge as well. There's also 4 other things that we haven't even talked about that surround this work that's going to be done. You have Moffett, you have Yingling, you have all of the redevelopment of the university, the old University Mall site, and of course you have Busch Gardens. And all of these are employment centers, they're residential centers. They show and augur the fact that there is going to be more pedestrian and vehicle traffic in this area than ever before. And we have got to invest in this, or we are not going to be able to capitalize on all of these different things and the convergence of all of them together. There's no question, Commissioner Hagan, most of this is in your district, but both Commissioner Myers and I are fairly close borders to it, and it just underscores the thousands of people that live around here that cross this area every day in order to get to work and move around and be part of it. So I'm very glad to support it, and I appreciate Commissioner Wessels' comments pointing out again that this is going to come out of this existing CIT, and it's not a part of the CIT that was just reauthorized. So again, I'm happy to be in support of the motion.
Commissioner Myers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not going to echo all the comments, but I am going to say to our chair, thank you so much for your leadership on this. But I wish staff can just bring up the exhibit that shows the rendering of the crosswalk, because I'd like the public to see what we're talking about, how it's really going to, when we talk about public safety, you know, we always say public safety is number one, and this is going to be a huge effort out in that community, in the USF community, that they have
The
this
last
potential.
slide. It's the last
It's
one.
the last slide, yes. Isn't that wonderful that they have the opportunity to use that and not crossing the street below? So I just want to thank you in presenting this to us, but also like as we are speaking, that the public see the same thing that we have in our backup material, that they can see as well. Thank you so much. I'm truly supporting this project.
Commissioner Cepeda, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. Well, so much has already been said that I do agree with. And also, as we've mentioned, all the businesses that are already there and the new businesses that will be coming as well. So public safety is very important, and these many students, I'm sure, will be employed right there across the street. And so this is very important to have this planned out in advance and have it. And thank you very much. I support it. Thank you.
Chair Hagan.
Thank you. Now, I'll just close, and I want to first of all sincerely want to thank all of the board members for your comments in support on this. Excellent comments. And I mean, like many of you, I'm on campus all the time. I banked at USF forever. My mom used to work there. I go to USF Health. I go to games there all the time, and I'm constantly blown away about how that campus has changed over the years. I referenced something from President Genshaft in '03, but really the last several years alone, and I referenced this with thanks to Mike Griffin and Will Weatherford and Rhea Law, how that campus has changed. And then when you think about moving forward, and we're not that far away. I mean, the stadium's opening next fall. This Fletcher district, early '28. We're shooting for our indoor facility to open in the summer of '28. That area is going to be completely transformed, and I honestly just get chills thinking about it. And it's going to be special, and I'm extremely proud that this board is playing a small part in that overall development. So again, very much appreciate your comments and support.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for your leadership on this chair and for working with staff and for the team at USF, and I'm really excited to see it come to fruition. With that, we have a motion by Chair Hagan, a second by Commissioner Bowles and Wustel. Please record your vote on F2.
The motion carried 7-0.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you. The next item is item B2. This is to approve a resolution amending the Capital Improvement Program, CIP. This is related to the CDBG-DR program. Kevin Brickey will present this item. Rob Hendrickson is here as needed, also for item B3.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Brickey, Management Budget. Item B2 is a resolution to amend the FY 26 to 31 Capital Improvement Program and a budget amendment to appropriate funds within the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant Funds. At your February 18th meeting, you approved an initial list of 7 infrastructure projects to be funded with CDBG-DR funding. This amendment appropriates $9.072 million in funding to these 7 projects, grouped in 3 CIP projects. Drainage improvements, $3.997 million. Stormwater pump stations, $325,000. Culvert replacements, $4.75 million. And the related resolution adds these projects to the CIP. Additionally, the budget amendment appropriates about $2.5 million of funding for staff efforts related to grant administration and for the two previously selected implementation consultants, Ernst & Young and BDO, to provide planning, execution, compliance monitoring, and program management at $9 million each. Thank you.
Move approval.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a motion by Commissioner Whistle, a second by Commissioner Cohen on B2. Please record your vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
Thank you. The next item, also relating to the CDBG-DR grant, this is for some new projects, and this is to approve 11 infrastructure projects. Josh Bellotti and Lisa Ray will take us through this item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Bellotti, Engineering and Operations Department. As promised at our presentation at the last board meeting, we're continuing to bring you additional infrastructure projects as we undergo the selection and evaluation in partnership with our grant consultant. The infrastructure projects that we have for you today represent $70 million worth of improvements focused on flood mitigation and resilience. As you can see on the map, they're spread out across the county, reflecting our efforts to maximize the benefits shared by our residents. These projects are targeted at the most vulnerable areas, such as those that meet national objectives like LMI, and also the flood focus areas identified in the Black and Veatch study. For public works specifically, we have a variety of stormwater improvement projects spread out across the county. There are culvert replacement projects at 5 different locations. We've also included several projects that will repair and restore the channels and open stormwater drainage systems that were impacted by the storms. There's a regional drainage improvement project included for Sweetwater Creek, and finally, several local drainage improvement projects in areas impacted by flooding. As with the initial project list provided at the last meeting, these projects have gone through the collaborative effort of vetting for eligibility and compliance, as well as for community impact, with the goal of extending that benefit area as far as possible. So that's what we have for stormwater, and then next we'll have some important projects on the wastewater side.
Thank you, Josh. Lisa Ray, Director of Water Resources. And during the storms in Helene and Milton, I think the biggest challenge that we faced was related to our lift stations. We had lift stations that were not able to operate because of failures due to flooding, as well as lift stations that were completely submerged. Our intended project is to start with an assessment of 171 wastewater lift stations that are located in flood-prone areas. And this assessment, we're going to be looking at the structural integrity, electrical systems, backup power or backup pumping requirements, elevation vulnerabilities, and assessing what the flood-proofing needs are for each of those lift stations. You can see them represented by dots on the map. They're spread out throughout the whole county, and the ones that are shown in red are actually located in the flood focus areas as identified in the Black and Veatch report. And it also has a very high impact on low to moderate impact income households. So with that, we are welcome to receive any questions from you, and we recommend approval.
All right, thank you. Going to board discussion. Commissioner Cohen.
First of all, I want to express profound thanks to our staff for all of their work on this. This is multiple years worth of work, particularly in the wake of the storms that we suffered now a year and a half ago. And at that time, we told our residents that we were going to stick with this and that we were going to make improvements so that we were going to learn from what happened and make improvements to our system to be more resilient and do what we could. And I want to just emphasize that what we have here, drainage improvements, ditch restorations, culvert repairs, 171 lift station improvements that, if you look on the map, are spread very, very equitably and equally among all 4 of the commission districts. There's something in here literally across the county. And this is just a huge step forward in doing the work that we promised that we were going to do. And I am just thrilled to be able to move approval of the item once all of my colleagues have had a chance to talk.
Okay, we got a motion to approve. Commissioner Cohen, second Commissioner Wolstel. Rick, do you want to say something right now?
Yeah, I just need to correct the vote, last vote. The motion passed 5-0, not 6-0.
Okay, do we need to revote, or are you good with that?
No,
Okay.
that's what happened.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Wolstel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to Mr. Velati's office. I had brought up a question before, which was, are they looking from an engineering standpoint downstream that would benefit low to moderate income upstream? And that's exactly what one of these items are today. And I just can't stress enough, I know that people are desperate to get help, but this was almost the single largest rain event in the history of the county, and in some areas it was. My own aide had to be water rescued by Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. Maybe Bowles was on the boat then. But it was just, in totality, there were a couple of deaths, but none of them had to do with issues of the county and their response to it. And it's just extremely incredible. And I'm going to keep reinforcing that to the public. And I want to thank staff. I didn't understand that these diesel hydraulic pumps that are more sustainable than a regular generator, so that was very helpful to me, that they won't become as potentially compromised in a water event. And to Commissioner Cohen's point, it's just such a large amount of assets. Again, we are geographically bigger than 7 states as a local government, and that's a big perspective for people to understand. So I'm happy to support this motion. Thank you.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Cohen, second Commissioner Wolstel. Please record your vote.
The motion carries 7-0. 7-0.
Next item.
Thank you. The next item is item B4. This is also related to CDBG-DR, but this is related to the Single-Family Housing Repair and Replacement Program, and this is for the construction manager at risk. And Scott Stromer will take us through this procurement.
Good morning. Scott Stromer, Procurement Services. Item B4 is asking the board to select and authorize negotiations with one or more of the firms deemed by the Evaluation Committee as to serve as construction managers at risk for the county's federally funded CDBG-DR Single-Family Housing Repair and Replacement Program. The Evaluation Committee carefully reviewed the 3 acceptable proposals, interviewed each firm, scored each based on the criteria in the solicitation. The committee determined in order Ducky Recovery LLC to be the top-ranked firm at 89 points. Number 2, Lemoyne Disaster Recovery LLC is with 87 points, and number 3, Dynamic Group LLC is number 3 with 85 points. Agreements with the selected firms will be presented to the board for final approval and execution at a future meeting. The solicitation specified a 6-year initial term, which aligns with the anticipated term of the county's overall program. It is currently anticipated that approximately $150 million will be allocated for construction under this program, which would likely be divided equally among the selected firms. With that, Procurement Services does recommend approval and selection of 1, 2, or all 3 of the firms in ranked order.
All right, thanks, Scott. We'll go on to board discussion. Commissioner Wolstel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I would like to thank, this was my item, and I'd really like to thank my colleagues for supporting it. The impetus of this item, just to refresh everybody in the public, was that the construction side of it did not need to be tied into the administration side of it, which would not be performing this work. And in the situations that they have been separated, oftentimes you'll see about an 8% savings of overhead because the construction managers are doing the construction work. Second, I would like to thank all of the applicants, even those that didn't prevail into the top 3. This was an arduous process, and I know that it was a big lift for all of you, and we do want to partner with everybody that wants to work with our residents. Finally, I'd like to thank Rob and his team. I actually watched every single one of your interviews and the very long scoring interview on YouTube. And you probably, Bonnie deserves to give you a raise at this point because that was painful. That was painful to get through. But I'd never watched a procurement video before. I was actually very surprised because I didn't know that the way that a lot of these scorings are done is based off of kind of personal opinion of the scoring. I didn't know that that's how it was done. And I felt like you guys did a really good job for your first time ever doing this, and we've highlighted over and over that this is going to be all of our first time, and unfortunately our first time has to do with allocating $709 million, no small feat. The construction manager at risk item was very important to me because I wanted to make sure that the homeowners got high quality products without delays and also without clawbacks after the construction is done, and those have happened in the past. I was surprised by some of the scoring because the item is about construction manager at risk, and the one applicant that consistently got the highest marks on having the most depth of construction experience in the state of Florida, in that column actually got marked as one of the lowest, which was very confusing to me. Even in staff's own comments on page 7 of 1,221, just for the general public to understand, they specifically noted that this one applicant had strengths including the largest line of credit and bonding capacity among the potential CMARs. However, that applicant was marked as one of the lowest for CMAR firms' resources and ability to meet the schedule, and I found that strange. And I think that that happened because of the nuance of one of the comments that I heard was, well, I'm scoring this applicant this low because I don't know their whole team, which I also found confusing because that applicant had said and introduced their team that had already moved here and the other ones that would be moving here. They also noted that that applicant had some of the greatest depth, as I mentioned before, of general contracting in the state of Florida. That being said, no process is perfect, and all 3 of the applicants scored extremely close to one another. I would like to turn, if you want to follow along, it's to page 77 of 1,221 of the backup. Question number 2 to the applicants was, the county will adopt a performance-based rational assignment model that begins with an evenly distributed number of projects. Ongoing work rotation will ensure that awarded CMAR firms receive work based on previous work performance. That's an acknowledgement that staff seem to always predict that there might be one of these that gets picked, and it would be measured-based outcomes that will result in their destiny of how much work they will get in the single-family housing component that we're separating today. One thing that stuck out to me about one of the applicants was that they noted in their application that they were doing work in a Florida county, and our department highlighted how important that might be. Unfortunately, they failed to offer that county up as one of their references, and I found that strange, so I took the time to email all of that county's commissioners and their city manager. I received a declination of offering a referral for them. That gave me some reservations, and for those reasons, Mr. Chair, I'm trying to be as brief as possible. I know you like when I go long-winded. I'm going to be making a motion In the spirit of the application that was put out, again, acknowledging that there would be an evenly distributed number of projects and that ongoing work rotation will ensure awarded CMAR firms receive work based on previous work performance, that it gradually incorporates performance metrics, the timeliness, quality, compliance to determine subsequent assignments, and enables the county to maintain accountability while rewarding consistent high-quality performance. I'm going to be making a motion to move forward with an even split, as was noted in the RFP, and approve the award to Duckies and Dynamic Group.
I'll second.
That is my motion.
I will second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Wostel, second Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Josh, Commissioner Wessel, for the overview. After having my briefing with staff and looking at the proposals from all three, you know, I can recall that when you score 89, that's like a B, if I recall, from 50 years from college. You know, A is a 90. So all of them was in the B category. But I want us to consider us being consistent. And I don't take anything away from all three proposals. But when we look at when we hired the architects, we hired 4, we shared, we was consistent. When we did the last 2, BDO and Ernst, we split the 2. Now we have 3 that are before us today. So you have one entity perhaps making $165 million when we can share. I talked with Rob late yesterday on this because it was a question that I didn't have, that I didn't ask in the briefing. Well, what would be the total amount of money that would be split if we did? And I thank you, Rob, for researching that late yesterday for me. I think it's enough where we can share the wealth with all 3 as we've done with the CDBG-DR proposal. Keep in mind, the architects, it was 4 that was presented. All 4 received work on behalf of the county. Now we have these 3, and I'd like to make a substitute motion that we look at these 3 and split amongst, because all of them received to be in my category area with this, that we look at all 3.
Second.
Yes.
Okay, we have a substitute motion by Commissioner Myers for all 3 of the companies, second by Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen?
I just want to say I agree with what Commissioner Myers is saying. In my briefing with the staff, what I got out of it was that they didn't really have a strong recommendation about whether to go with 1 or to go with multiple. There were arguments on both sides that made it. There were some compelling arguments about just going with 1. There were also some compelling arguments about splitting it up. What concerns me about cherry picking number 1 and number 3 is that they're all clustered together very closely. And I just think if we're going to do it that way, I can support going in that direction. I just think that it's cleaner to follow the protocol, as Commissioner Myers said, that we have before, which would be to split it among the 3 of them.
Commissioner Wostel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I won't be supporting the substitute motion. I had considered that, but me actually splitting it between these 2 was actually me accepting that I don't get to have my cake and eat it too, because in my opinion, after watching them, the lowest scored one likely should have been the highest scored one for the CMAR, since it was consistently said they had the greatest depth of construction management. So this is me trying to give a little to get a little, hopefully. So thank you very much for the comments.
Commissioner Miller?
I just wanted to support Commissioner Whistle's point. I also went down sort of the rabbit hole of the one who listed them as their work experience but didn't list it as a reference. That was very troubling to me. And so while I would, you talk about splitting the work amongst them, I don't want to split the work against somebody who's currently working in a county that won't recommend them. So that's why I was supportive of them being removed from there. Thank you.
Commissioner Bowles?
Yeah, I'm just kind of interesting that Commissioner Whistle was able to bring up that information or find out that information, and we weren't, our committee wasn't privileged to have that as well. I find that a little odd, but I don't know if, given that I can support splitting it amongst all three at this point. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Myers?
Yeah, well, all three, BDO has worked with all three of these companies, so they're not like starting new. They worked with them in the past. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion, substitute motion on the floor by Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Cohen to procure all three of the firms. Please record your vote on the substitute motion.
The motion failed, 1 to 5.
My screen is not working. I was attempting to vote yes.
Okay. All right. Motion failed, 2 to 4.
2 to 5.
2 to 5. Commissioners Bowles, Miller, Cameron Cepeda, Hagan, and Wolfson voted no.
Okay, before we vote on this, on the motion on the floor, Julia, did you want to make a comment?
Yes, if you don't mind, just for the purposes of the record, it's within your authority to go ahead and re-rank, and I would say that that re-ranking is based upon the review by Commissioner Wastel, which he articulated on the record, and other comments that were made relating to review of the evaluation committee and making that decision based upon that. So I just wanted to make that statement. Thank you.
Commissioner Cohen? Yeah, we're having some technological issues here. And before I just want to say, I give Commissioner Wilson a lot of credit for, I guess, patience and vigilance for watching all that stuff and reading all that stuff. I've never watched a procurement meeting, I'll tell you that. But I will say, irrespective of the department, I've always held the belief that the ranking, and this is not to the detriment of staff, but I've always believed that the rankings are somewhat subjective for whatever reason. It's not intentional. I just think it's not clear cut. And the case was clearly made of that here. And again, to Commissioner Wilson's credit, I've been on boards, not really this board, but other boards where attempts have been made to bump up a firm that was way buried down. It's like, that's not appropriate. But they were so close on the rankings, and the case was made, so that's why I'm supporting this. Okay, we have a motion. Commissioner Wolstel, second Commissioner Miller. Please record your vote.
The motion carried, 7-0.
Okay. Next item.
Thank you. The next item is item B5. This is to approve the fourth modification of the Progressive Design Build Agreement for the One Water project. Lisa, back to you.
Morning again.
Thank you, Commissioners. Lisa Ray, Director of Water Resources, and I'm here to ask for your approval on agenda item B5, which is the fourth modification to the Progressive Design Build Agreement with Garney Company for the One Water South Wastewater Conveyance and Treatment Project in the amount of $138,575,562.44. In addition to this, there is a budget amendment resolution to realign funds within our existing CIP to help cover this project. The GMP number 3 is actually for the construction of the Balm Super Lift Station, which is a critical component to the overall project to transfer wastewater up to the new wastewater treatment plant, and for construction of line segment C. The pipeline, which spans two pipelines that span 10 miles, has been broken up into 5 segments. You've already approved segments A and segments B. This is segment C. And we're also asking to be able to purchase some long lead time items. Electrical gear and such can take up to 18 months to 2 years to arrive, so we need to get those items purchased for the plant. We will be coming back to the board in August or September with a very large GMP for the actual construction of the plant. We're anticipating around $800 million at that time. With this, I am asking for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say this morning, I don't know if it went to all of the offices, but we actually were invited to the One Water groundbreaking on April the 24th at 10 a.m., and all of the board members deserve to be there, even though, Commissioner Cohen and I are leading the charge over at Tampa Bay Water. It's all of our yeoman's work to get this done, and I will move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion to approve Commissioner Wolstel, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on B5.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Bonnie?
Thank you. The next item is item F1. You have 3 board appointments, and Glenda will take you through these appointments.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first board is Health Council of West Central Florida. One term has expired, and the term is for 2 years. Choose one. Commissioner Hagan.
Can you come back to me on this one?
Yes. Commissioner Miller.
1.
Commissioner Myers.
2.
Commissioner Cohen.
2.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
2.
Commissioner Bowles.
1.
Commissioner Wosto.
1.
Commissioner Hagan.
Should have gone first. 2.
Okay. The board has selected Brittany Peters. The next one is Human Relation Board. 2 positions have expired. The terms are for 3 years. Commissioners are to choose 2. Commissioner Hagan.
3 and 5.
Commissioner Miller.
Hold on. 3, 4.
Commissioner Myers.
4, 5.
Commissioner Cohen.
4 and 5.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
3 and 4.
Commissioner Bowles.
3, 5.
Commissioner Wosto.
4 and 5.
Okay. The board has selected Octavia Jernigan and Richard Hector. Last board is the Tourist Development Council. 3 positions will expire. The terms are for 4 years. The board is to consider the number of term an applicant have served on that board or council. It may give preference to those applicants that have not served on that board or council. We will be choosing 3. Commissioner Hagan.
6, 7, 8.
Commissioner Miller.
6, 7, 8.
Commissioner Myers.
6, 7, 8.
Commissioner Cohen.
6, 7, 8.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
6, 7, 8.
Commissioner Bowles.
6, 7, 8.
Commissioner Wosto.
I want to give 9-1 just to, I feel bad. 6, 7, 8 though.
The board has selected Jeffrey Antonasio, Robert Morrison, and Joe Collier.
Okay. Commissioner Wilson, do you want to make a comment?
Move to approve.
I hit my thing.
Yeah, motion to accept. Motion, Commissioner.
Second.
Miller, second, Commissioner Wilson. Please record your vote.
Mine's all messed up. I get the U.S.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Okay, Bonnie?
Thank you. The final item are future discussion items.
I had one.
Okay. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Chair. Given the continuing growth in Hillsborough County, there's likely to be a long-term need for additional courthouse space in East County. The courts already have a presence in Plant City, and I would like staff to identify property near the existing courthouse in East County that would be useful to have for parking or any other court-related use when the need to expand arises. I'd like this initiative to be included in this year's federal grants program list to ensure that we don't miss an opportunity for federal grant funds for 27. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Wostell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a very basic one. I would request that staff bring my office an aging report of payments that have either been withheld or delayed from contractors that are performing basic road maintenance, widening, sidewalk repair, and culvert repair at an age post 90 days. Thank you.
Got that. Commissioner Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That staff consider using CDBG-DR funds for an overhead or pedestrian walk in Progress Village, to come back with that. see if we can use CDBG-DR funds for that. Thank you.
Commissioner Bowles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two items. One, I would like to request that we place an item on our April 1st agenda to amend our federal legislative priorities to include 2 additional projects that I believe are critical to our environmental stewardship and medical innovation. One of those is for the Wolf Branch Creek and Bullfrog Creek preserve areas there, and that is to essentially to see if we can establish a trust to help with the increased development pressures down there, to help with the watershed restoration and establish funding through that through a federal source. The second is that I would like to also propose adding federal funding support for the expansion of digital pathology at Moffitt Cancer Center. And I will have more on that as we get into the April. Thank you.
And I've got one, Bonnie, similar to that. If you can bring back August or April 1st, adding to our, I guess, federal agenda, to adding Baycare's request for $2.4 million in federal funds to support the Proton Therapy Center at St. Joseph's. I guess the reason for this is the federal appropriations process was recently changed, and it's not requiring us, but if we want to be supportive and avoid them coming to us for the funding, I think it's in our best interest that we put it on our list. So please add that and bring it back on April 1st. With that, I'm seeing any other comments, so we're adjourned.